Hello, welcome to those on YouTube. Nice to see you. Yeah, I already have some people in Zoom that I've already said hello to. And if you want to join that, you can find out how to do that on my website if you want to join the Zoom group and be able to ask questions. But welcome to today's talk, and it is called Is Non Duality Dangerous? And I'm pretty sure that I've done this title before after 13 years of doing this. But we will go over it again. Yeah, so just as a disclaimer before we start, please read the disclaimer on my website before joining these events. And non-duality isn't therapy. It can be therapeutic, but it isn't therapy. It's really about going beyond the story rather than fixing the story. But often a lot of teachers, including myself, recommend healing and fixing the story. Because as you do that, you become less of a self, ironically. The more happy you become, the less you there is. And then it's a little bit like the analogy of the clouds in the sky. Like if it's like lots of you there, it's like really dense clouds, and there's less of you there, then like the sky is poking through. And that's kind of the premise or the theory behind settling down the person. But notice that those clouds can't become the sky. So just like the person can't become freedom. So it's not about the person becoming freedom. Yeah. Yes, that's my little disclaimer. On my website, on the reference page, there's lots of different therapies recommended there to help settle the person down. And yeah, I really recommend it. If you are going through a really hellish time in your life or in your psychology, in your personhood, then there's so many different methods to help with that. Non-duality, the type of non-duality that I teach kind of comes from India. And in India, they have yogic practices, breath practices, devotion, bhakti, service, all these different practices which are there to help calm the person down. They have Ayurveda, sattvic eating, and all of this helps balance the person. I was thinking about it today or the last days, how, in losing religion in our societies, we kind of lost this this natural element that evolved of having this place you go to when you have problems. So, if you're having problems, like say in India, you could go to the guru and speak to the guru, and the guru could recommend different things for you to do. And it was the same in Christianity, I believe. You could go to your priest or your vicar and speak about your problems. And now in the West we have therapists, but it's a different dynamic because the therapists you pay to go to, whereas the church is or religions in the past, not now, they were supported more by the community. So it's kind of a different dynamic that was there for you. Yeah, in all circumstances, if you didn't have money or had money. And I'm not trying to idolize it because I know, like most things in this world, that it all comes with the good and the bad, and I'm sure there was lots and lots of problems in that too, and hierarchy and discrimination. But I just kind of thought it was like a natural system that you go to, like a natural, like a organic system, I suppose, that evolved with humanity. Like, like going to the ashram and singing bhajangs in the evening is such a healthy thing to do for the community spirit, and then also for yourself, for your sense of well-being. And the same in Islam, they have 5 days of these 5 times, I think, a day of these prayers happen. And I can see the positive in that as well. And then this connection to something bigger. Whereas now in our society, there tends to be such isolation. And sense of individualism. There's many good things that happen in our society as well. And I'm sure in those societies there was also bad things that arose. I'm not meaning to paint anything with rose tinted glasses. But the point is that I was just trying in the beginning of this to, point out the difference between non-duality and seeking help on the human level, and that they're not against each other. And they were often done in tandem together. Okay, so we'll begin to speak about, is non-duality dangerous? So first of all, I'll just discuss what non-duality is. So non-duality is something you could call waking up. Like waking up is a really good word for it. And this waking up isn't a mental thing. It's an energetical thing. So it's not something that you learn and you understand and then you think, now I've got it. I see it. It's not even you seeing it, that too is a mental activity. Although you could say that is an awakening in some way, the you recognizing what non-duality is. But that's still in the dream, that's still a you recognizing it. Yeah, and through the years of teaching, I've come across so many people that believe they've got it as a mental understanding, something that they know, they understand, but it's actually something that maybe you could call energetic. But even energetic sounds like energy of the body, like a personal thing that would happen to you. And if it's energies and feelings of the body, then again, that's something in the dream. But what it is it's this waking up from being asleep in the dream and dreaming you're a character moving in time, to waking up to this realization that's not thought-based, that happens beyond the person. That who and what you are is this empty looking and this beingness merged together. You could call it emptiness and fullness, no thing and everythingness. Nisargadatta phrases it as Satchit Ananda, and that is when beingness and consciousness, the big consciousness, meet, then there is Ananda, bliss. And he describes it as a falling in love again. And the reason that they meet is because when you wake up, the empty looking stops being behind the eyes, it stops belonging to something in time, and it merges back into what it is, the timeless, which is everything, all things. So it stops being held as a thing that is moving through time, or seemingly moving through time, through the illusion of imagery, and merges back into all things. So then there is no separation anymore. And this is love, bliss. Nisargadatta Maharaj describes this bliss as twofold. There's the bliss of what you are, which is beyond space and time and you. And then there's blissfulness, which manifests in the body when there is this recognition. That blissfulness that manifests in the body comes and goes. So what this waking up looks like, not as a visual, but just as a metaphor, as if you imagine dreaming at night. So if you imagine having a dream that you're on a spiritual journey and you go to ashrams in India, you go to lots of different gurus, and the person in the dream works out and knows, I am the dreamer of the dream, I'm not the person. And that's a big liberation that changes things in the dream, that changes things in the person. And that's profound, but that's still in the dream. The person in the dream is recognizing it and understanding it. Then what can happen at some point is that this energy goes back into itself, and the dreamer of the dream is no longer confused. I mean, the dreamer of the dream was never really confused, but it was seemingly lost in time and space. And what that looks like, or what that's like, is there is a movement away from the dream and then resting in that which you are as the watching. So as the dreamer at night, what it looks like is that you are dreaming this dream, but you're resting as the consciousness of that person that's in bed. So you're resting as, so say if it's Lisa, you're resting as Lisa's consciousness, which is the creator of the dream. And you're watching the dream. You're no longer lost in the character in the dream. So awareness goes back to resting in itself rather than seemingly dividing itself and being lost into particular objects and things. And it's a movement. It feels like an energetic movement back to yourself, back to stillness. And then this expansion where it stops being locked everywhere, locked anywhere. So it stops being locked inside and it goes back to being itself as all things. And this is what waking up is. So the big awareness, or the big consciousness, however you name that, is always here. This never sleeps. What sleeps and what goes on and off line is the person. The consciousness is the creator of all of this and is always here and always free, but seemingly dreams to be lost in it. This is freedom. It's freedom from the person. It's freedom from the dream. But it's not the person that becomes enlightened, because the person never existed. The person was always a dream character. Most of the time, this changes the dream character, depending on what it was like before. It's impossible for the dream character to have hatred, although hatred may appear in the dream, but that character can't have hatred anymore. And what's happened here from this experience of this body-mind is the body and mind has become more loving, kind, generous, open-minded. And some of that came in the waking up, in the moment of waking up, which is actually all times, which is actually right here, the moment of waking up. And then some of it has seemingly happened through time, that Lisa has lost more and more of the karmic bounds of this body, the habits and the conditions of this body. But Lisa can still change and expand to more and more in line with love. And the reason that the character then goes through this transformation, the waking up, is because the seeking dies. And the seeking is what was keeping a lot of the habits, negative habits and conditions in play. but it's like an energy. It takes a while for that to wind out of the body. You know, if you've got like a spinning top that you've pumped up, so at least these bodies had 30 years of being pumped up, then it takes time for that energy to wind out. You could look at it though, if you believe in previous lives, it's like it's had millions of lives. And so this energy comes out more and more. There is no path to waking up, because whose path would that be? That would be in the dream, that would be the character. And awareness, pure consciousness, what you are, has never moved, it's just here. What the character can do is settle itself down, and the recommendation that goes through lots of sages and gurus and sutras is to settle the person down, to calm the nervous system, be more healthy, integrated, to go to satsang, to explore I am, and to rest in the I am. And that is generally what is recommended. But there is no path to this, because who would wake up? Everything that's described has been for the person. Who would wake up? Who is looking out of your eyes now? Who is doing the actions? The mind is always telling the story, me, me, me. I am looking at the eyes. I am doing the actions. I'm sitting here. But who is that me? Who is the person? Who are you now? Who's trying to wake up? An imagination, a thought, an energy. Whereas what you are is this still, pure awareness, or big consciousness, which is experiencing. And it's not separate from that which is experiencing. So looking and the looked at are the same. The hearing and the heard are the same. The feeling and the felt are the same. Right here is this still presence, and the place in which awareness or big consciousness is found is here in this moment. In this moment. Right here in the stillness of what's happening, prior to thoughts, prior to feelings, sensations. It's so still and free. So is non-duality dangerous? Non-duality is absolute freedom. Absolute freedom. What's dangerous is the mind, and the way in which the mind interprets the subject. The mind always takes it for a belief system. And when you take non-duality for a belief system, then it's gonna be problematic. You know, if you suddenly start believing you're not a person, that you have no free will, that's not what's being asked of you. Tony Parsons used to always say, if you leave this room believing anything I've said, then you've totally misunderstood everything that's been said. So non-duality in itself is freedom. It's the most beautiful subject there is. What is dangerous is the way that that's interpreted. But in a sense, that's not dangerous, because it's all part and parcel of this. There's all different colours. And with the people that misunderstand it, there's equally going to be the people that do understand it, which is the same in all areas of life. It has the good and the bad. And then ultimately, when you really see reality as it is, there is no good and bad. There is no danger and non-danger. Danger only exists in imagination and the stories that we tell ourselves. And the stories have been appearing to help us survive better. And so there could be wisdom in some of the stories, but they've never been a truth or a reality. They've never been a fixed thing. A story and a word can never be a fixed thing. So no, I certainly don't think that non-duality is dangerous. But I think the way in which the mind interprets it, it can be dangerous. But more than likely, if the mind is interpreting it in a dangerous way, maybe that mind is already doing that with other areas of its life. You know, if the person is already feeling suicidal, then it might interpret it in this negative way. Or if the mind is feeling not good enough, then it might interpret it in that way. Or if the mind is feeling abandoned, it might interpret it in that way. Or if the mind is feeling reckless, then it might interpret it in that way. So the essence of what's been spoken about over the last 20, 30 minutes is this big consciousness is here now, prior to everything that you think, feel, know, and that is the freedom. The freedom isn't time bound. The freedom isn't you bound. Who is experiencing now? Is it you? Or is there something experiencing you? And then Nisargadatta Maharaj and Ramana Maharshi would say, rest there. And Nanda Mahima would say, keep God in mind at all times. Nice, okay, so yeah, if you have any questions, then you can raise your hand. And the way that I'll do it is I'll take one spoken question and then read a question and spoken and read. And you can write the question in the Zoom chat, or you can write it in the Telegram group. And if you're wanting to join the Zoom group and you're watching on YouTube, then you can find out how to do that on my website under the live stream. Nice. Nice. Okay, let's go to the questions. Okay, Isabel, you can unmute yourself. Oh, sorry, I've stopped you. One moment. Let me give you the permission. Yeah, go for it, Isabel. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I was really the whole day, I was like, oh, this evening I can talk to Lisa. It was really from the morning. So weirdness. And it's like 1 week ago, I really felt like such a boost. And but I don't know boost of what, you know? It's like this thinking, not sinking, thinking, like resting inside, yeah, my third eye. Maybe it's like this energetic thing like going on in my head. It's always in my head. It's in the third eye area in my whole, and it's like so much going on there. And then normally I loved it in the beginning, and it's even not I love it, it's like my system. It's like just this desire of closing my eyes and just be there, and then it's things happen, like it's floating around, and you know, and I see things, and I have this, you know, like wow, and I open my eyes and everything is yeah, like really, you could say nice maybe. But it's also life has to be done, you know, like I it's the yeah, my mind is like, yeah, but you have to do things. You can't just always close your eyes and sit around. I mean, like really, and it's yeah, there's also this side, or there was this side of, or there is a side of nice and release, or it's not. It's just this, or it's just it's just itself. It's just it just happens. Something it's just happening, and it's beautiful, you know, for sure. And just like it's like a theater and da da dum, and but then I had also this point of that it's not getting less, you know, like it stays. And it's so strong. And then I'm also, I had a little like, okay, what now, you know, like really this desire of dying in this, and just being eaten. But then how can I have money? I have to work, I have to do my things. And it's a little bit as if, oh, normally this glimpses gives me more energy or hope, or somehow something that I can function better. And at the moment, it's like as if my depressed side is a little. This morning was so like, because my mind started really like, okay, I have to do this and this and this and this and this, and it was so much, and I was like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't say, it's just wow, and it's also scaring at the moment, and scary, and I can't say, am I totally depressed? Am I in every today it was really I forced myself so much go out to the forest and just really like just survive a kind of, and yeah, and then there was also this fear of maybe it's too much at the moment. It's maybe, and then also maybe I get crazy, like,
Mm.
and then yeah, I was really waiting. I was like, okay, I can do nothing now. I wait until I just it's yeah,
Yeah.
and then this evening was better. It was a
Yeah.
little okay. Here I am again. It's
Yeah.
something. And now I'm sitting here, and I feel, yeah, a little bit, I don't know how to do, and I can't say for example, I have to plan, but I can't say now this is awakening, or it's something,
Yeah.
and I can't say it's total depression, it's total something, it's what, and it's ADHS, ADH, or it's because I can't. For example, I feel so under pressure, for example, to do my future, like the normal things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I can't plan, and I can't decide, and I can't, and then I'm okay. It's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
totally. Yeah. I understand,
I
Isabel.
want $1 million now and
Yeah.
never
But
work again.
I would like what I would do if I was in your situation is like, so when you have awakenings, what can happen is that you can oscillate between an expansive side and a very rapid mind. So it kind of drives the mind crazy. So then when the mind comes back, it's like, and so, and you can't stop that. It's like a tidal wave. You can't stop the tidal wave of the mind coming back in. You can't fight it with the mind. Like, so you can't be like, no, silence, stillness. It's like it comes in. So when you wake up in the morning, like when that energy comes in, like meditation in that situation is most probably going to be extremely tough because the mind will be going incredibly rapidly. And when meditation happens, like then, so when this stillness or this more expansiveness happens, then I would allow yourself to go in it. But then the rest of the time, I would do something like singing, because nothing
Okay.
that your mind is saying is of any use thinking about. So the choices, the making the decisions, in that moment, there's no use or no good to make decisions. The mind will just confuse you. The mind will just become very rapid. So that's out. Like all the list of things you've got to do, it's only doing that because of stress or depressive energies and to try and stay in control. So you write the list of the things you've got to do, and then the rest of the time, like move it to something like singing. Because when you're singing, like even though the mind can think to an extent, there is this breath work that's happening, so this body work, and then there is this focus on the actual music and the words. So even if you're doing the washing, like trying to sing, if you're going for a walk trying to sing, to stop that tidal wave taking over, then when the meditative energy comes over you, then you can sit and meditate. But these stories about you've got to do your life and you've got to earn money and you've got to make choices, that will have been going around your whole life. You know, it's no different now. Maybe the mind says it is different now, like, oh, there is worse situations happening now. But it's just trying to stay in control. It's not that it's trying to like hurt you, but it's not trying to help you in that situation. It's trying to survive, because that's its job. Like so I would turn to something else. I wouldn't turn to meditation or to the mind in that situation. The other thing that you can do is then satsang, listening to non-duality. This is another thing that will bring that you concentrate on the words of the other, and this brings a meditative energy often.
Yes, I could, at the moment, I could really sit all the time, 24 hours, just be in this. But then I feel it's not. Yeah, at the moment, I really would like to be a nun in a sanctuary or a Zen
Yeah.
Buddha.
But don't
But
let that
yeah,
don't let that come in, because this is the life that you've got. And so this is perfection. Like life knows what it's doing. So don't let it fool you about these stories, you know, that it would be better if I was in India, it'd be better if I was in an ashram, it'd be better if I was a nun. Like don't let that fool you. Like it's so, you know, Maya presents itself as life. obviously, but it presents. So if you imagine the Buddha when he sat under the Bodhi tree, like Maya, he sat still for 40 days and 40 nights, and Maya presented itself. And the way that Maya presented itself was life, by life out in front of the Buddha. Like the Buddha, I don't think was really sitting there still. I think it was like these heavens and hells presented themselves, and the Buddha remained still. So for you, your Bodhi tree is, your house, and is your job, and is your kids. Is that like what is happening? That is where the stillness is. It's not in this imagination of this perfect place that you've got to do it. Like, don't let that take over, because that's another distraction. That's another illusion that's fishing for awareness, to absorb awareness, like to absorb the attention into it. So it's like during your day, just keep presenting yourself to the subjects, to satsang, to singing. So when you're doing the washing, or when you're cooking or something, you're treating it as if it's your ashram. So you carry on the meditation, but through singing when you're doing it. So it's as if you're still sitting in meditation.
And could you tell me? I have one more question, because you always told me about Nyati Nyati.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I feel like I do it so much. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want nobody any. It's like just my kids, push my kids always, but it's really like my friends. Nobody. It's like I feel so harsh inside. It's not. I'm not love
Yeah.
at all. This is not feeling like love. This is feeling like stillness, or or stillness is also just, it's feeling like, I don't know, it's so much no to the world. It's so much finally no.
Yeah.
No, 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 finally. And it's so much also this finally, like always was this, and it's so much, there's also this
Yeah.
yeah, there's something in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it's just the mind. It's like, okay, how could you live? How it's not social. This is not social. It's so.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, don't make your mind up about that. Like, because maybe the most social thing there is to be absolute stillness, and this is the most loving. So don't make up your mind about what social is, because most of us are indoctrinated into a society that is enforced socialization, which is not really love. We're all putting on these masks and behaving in ways that we've been told we should behave. And maybe the most loving thing is the stillness. So I just wouldn't make a conclusion about that. I don't know the way in which you are behaving, but I just wouldn't make a conclusion. I would just keep your mind on the meditation, the I am, neti neti, the singing when the mind gets very busy, and then the Ananda Mahima, like everything is the ashram. Like you are a nun already. You're totally devoted to God. But just our monasteries look slightly different from the way they did 100, 200 years ago. And then also the satsang, keep presenting yourself to this subject.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So.
thank you, Isabel. Okay, so I take one written question. Let's see. Random seed. Do what experiences beyond the personal self naturally unfold into realization, including non-dual insight, Or can some of them actually destabilize the psyche? Should we even care? I mean, in the end, random seed, it's like absolute destabilization of the psyche. I mean, it's no small thing, this end of attachment to the person, going back to self. It's very disturbing for the psyche. I mean, I don't know exactly what you call the psyche, but it's the mind really wants to center attention. So imagine like a stage with a child that likes attention. So I'm sure most of us have experienced like the child there, like they're always wanting you to watch them. And you're like, oh, far out. And they finally get on a stage and then they get the spotlight on them and they're as happy as Larry when the spotlight's on them and they're dancing and they're doing all these things. But then when the spotlight begins to be interested in itself and move away from the child, like the child begins to chase after the spotlight. No, it's like, no, what about me? And you know, those children that if after a while you don't give them enough attention, they like lay on the floor and they start tantruming and screaming. Or we had this one child at the house where she wanted attention so much she kept doing everything that her parents told her not to do. So, you know, I don't know if you've experienced that with children before. So you say like, don't touch the glass. And then it's like all she kept doing was touching the glass because she wanted the parents' attention. And this is what the mind's like. As you begin to withdraw the attention from the mind, which is a natural process. It's not really you doing it because you are that kid on the stage. But as there begins to be this withdrawal or the light away from that person and back into itself, the kid is like, me. So it is destabilizing for the psyche because the psyche has said it will survive if attention stays on it, if it stays in control. So it's like death. That child feels like it's going to die if it doesn't get attention. So, and that doesn't mean like negating yourself or being mean to yourself or something. It's not that. I'm not saying like, you know, start hating the ego or the mind. It's moving the attention away from it, back into yourself. So Nisargadatta and Ramana Maharshi, like their practices were both, in the end, putting the attention on the feeling of I, or the feeling of I am. So you're trying to go beyond I am Tony, or I am Peter, or I am Pete. You're trying to go beyond that to the I before I am someone. I am good and bad or bad. I want to be loved. And then you're holding on to that initial I. So you're withdrawing attention from that one that wants to be loved. But it doesn't mean that you're like neglecting it or pushing it away. You're like, you let it play, you let it be there, but you're staying on the initial I feeling. The initial sense of I, or I am. So if you have the feeling like you want to be loved, it's not pushing that feeling away, but you're focusing on the I before it goes, I want to be loved. So you're focusing on that I feeling. It's a very intelligent activity because it is something that you seemingly do, but it's also the natural way of being. So it's like the person, the illusory person, is always in time and always moving in time and doing things. And this, going back to the original I, it seems like activity because you're lost in time, but actually it's your natural resting place. It's even deeper than the original I, the natural resting place. As you go into it, all boundaries dissolve. But the illusion is the movement in time. So you're seemingly working with that movement in time to bring it back to this. And when you do that, it's your natural resting place. So it's almost as if you're not doing it. It's a very intelligent, I don't know what else to call it, profound practice. But just always, when I start talking about practice, know that that practice isn't for everyone. So if that doesn't resonate for you, that's not a problem. Infinite paths to this. And then also the idea that you're practicing is an illusion. It's imagination. Who is the one practicing? So Roger always used to say to me, it sounds like I'm giving prescription, but actually it's a description of something that may happen. Because who is the one practicing? Okay, Thomas, you can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me, Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have headphones.
No, I
If
hear
the
you.
sound is good, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the question, is it dangerous, is very interesting. And it feels like it. So for me, it feels like it's dangerous. There's both. There is an attraction or a longing, and this feeling it's dangerous. Even with satsang, with you, with it having a meeting. So I'm waiting for the satsang is coming and looking forward. And then there is also fear, oh, should I put my hand up? And there's some danger. So I'm divided in two.
Yeah.
And one is attracted and the other part is afraid.
Yeah. Because
And
it's really the death of you. Like, everything that you've known yourself to be, when you really settle into that becomes an invisibility. It comes and appears for practicality, the Thomas character. But then you become so still and quiet, you can't even really formulate images or thoughts about Thomas, just vaguely in order to function. Some teachers, Ramana Maharshi and maybe Ananda Mahima, who sort of really went out of society, maybe they had that even stronger, very little character left because they didn't need it. And that is such a different way of being. To not be living in mind, but to be living right here. It means everything becomes uncontrollable and you can't have this personal awareness that's imagining who you're going to be or what you're going to do. You're just very absorbed in this moment, which can have images arising, but it's not like it is before when there's identification with the person. So it is dangerous, but you die into yourself because you've always been this present moment. So it's kind of ironic that the person fears it so much, but it's where the person's always been playing. It's like the film character fearing the screen. You know, the film character fearing that it dissolves into the screen, where it's always, and it's afraid of the screen, but it's always needed the screen, it's always been on the screen. Or maybe a better analogy is like the character being afraid of the light, you know, that projects it.
Mm.
You know, because you've never come out of this moment. You've never been away from this moment. You've only ever experienced this moment. This is the same moment as the moment you were conceived, the moment you were born, the moment prior to being conceived. All the moments through your life that you imagine now, it's the same moment. But what's been changing is the images.
Yeah, and the fear changes when I I had put my hand up and I'm with you, and or I look in your eyes, and then there's a glimpse of this of this big room, this consciousness, and then it feels like a hardness. The fear turns in like a protection, like a like a control,
Mm.
like a wall of control. And then I feel I feel I have these glimpses, but there is I feel a hardness in my chest. But it's a kind of protection, yeah.
Yeah, a boundary
Yeah.
to stop the
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
amness dissolving into
Mm.
everything. So the I am is
Yeah.
held
Yeah.
and seemingly inside the heart. And if it were to
Yes,
actually
it's
dissolve
like
into
a strong
everything,
holding. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
then it would be absolute non-division, and you would be all other things and all other characters, which would be love. You'd be consumed by love. You'd be so consumed by love that there wouldn't be you there. So then the energy holds it like, no, it's got to stay in here. It's
Yes,
not
yes, yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about it,
yeah.
but it's like, boom.
Yeah. 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 It turns back from thinking, so the fear is more thinking in a hardness feeling.
Yeah.
There's both. There's this open room and this
Mm.
hardness feeling in it.
Mm.
Yeah, I can feel it now. And then the question comes up, why not just dilute in it?
What, sorry?
Or why not just dilute? Let myself dilute in it.
What does that mean?
Yeah, in the consciousness, in the big consciousness. Yeah, to dissolve, to
Yeah.
disappear.
Hmm. And the reason that that doesn't happen is because there's energy in the body, or karma in the body, that still has something to do in time. Still wants something from time.
Yeah.
As that energy begins to dissipate, then it will all get vacuumed into the stillness of what is. Seeking is what keeps the timeline strong or there.
Mm. And there are times this holding is strong, and times it's quite soft.
Mm. Nice, thanks, Thomas.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, next to hands. If you could just put your hand up, hands, and then I can pin you while I answer the question, unless you've got your video off. Okay, maybe. Yeah, thanks. Okay. Could you speak about desire? I can imagine that as the self, a desire is an immediate manifestation. But how is it for the separate self? I have impression that it is more suffering, trying to manifest and then feeling frustrated or disappointed because nothing is manifesting. Yeah, totally. So Nisargadatta Maharaj calls desire suffering, whereas I tend to distinguish in words between seeking and desire, and I tend to call desire like the natural movements most of the time. So like you have desire to go to the toilet, you have desire to eat your lunch, you have desire to watch this talk. I don't know, maybe there's seeking and desire for watching this talk, I don't know. But it could be without seeking. Your desire to paint your wall. And then the what gets added on top is seeking. And seeking is the identification part, where you believe that it's for you in time and that you're going to be completed in time. Whereas the other is something that arises in the moment. You're sitting there. And then the toilet one is like really obvious, you know, because it just comes up. Eating could be seeking, but rarely do we go to the toilet out of seeking. Although it's possible. But most of the time, toilet is a natural one. Food can be natural, can be seeking. You know, speaking with your partner, that can be a natural, or that could be seeking. And the seeking element is that it's me, and that I am going to get completed by that in time. Now, that's not a conscious thought, but you eat your food, and it's trying to fulfill a you in time. And rather than just eating the food, because it's a natural process, and enjoying the food, it kind of becomes about you. And then you're trying to fill the whole of you. You know, so eating that happens quite regularly, you know, that we eat because of emotional reasons, and we're trying to cover up emotional reasons, and that would be a seeking of you in time. They can say with your partner, like there might be, rather than just the natural desire to go and speak to your partner and enjoyment of interaction and their being, it could be that you're seeking to get love from them. And then if they don't give you love, you feel disappointed, you feel resentful, but it's again you in time. When it's a natural desire, if they reject you, then it's a nothing. It's a bit of pain in the moment, but it's like the nothing, because you don't believe that it's completing you in time. You are complete. You are this moment. But when you believe it's in time, then there is the disappointment, the frustration, the resentment, the guilt, the blame, the shame, the pride, the expectation. So these are different, and the seeking is about you, and the seeking is about it trying to complete you in some way. And the ultimate completion is the wanting to be home. So if you want love from your partner, ultimately what you want in that moment is to be home. But in the seeking element, you feel that it's not conscious, but you feel like if they give you love, then you will feel more safe, secure, more happy. You might not even be conscious of that. It might just be a movement that arises. Wanting love from partner can be a natural thing, a natural desire, but it's not about you in time. It's like you're there and there's the arising maybe of sensuality or intimacy, and then that's a very natural thing. And the way that you can see whether it's natural or not is when you don't get it. When you do get it, everybody's happy. But when you don't get it, then you see whether it's seeking or not. You know, because then it's like, but what about me? You know, it's whereas when you're really in yourself, then it's not such a big deal. It's coming and going, coming and going. Like your real completion is here. Yeah. So Nisargadatta, if you read him, he will talk about it more as desire. So seeking will be desire. But all teachers normally talk about this, the pleasure and pain dynamic. In Buddhism, they call it craving often. And natural desire you could also call God's will. When you're in your natural desire, you know, it's not for you, it's not about you. So then you can call it God's will, you know, it's the same energy that moves the wind, that creates the sun. You know, it's appearing out of no place and disappearing out of no place. It's not appearing from a story in time, it's spontaneously appearing here in this. And it feels like an openness and a love. And so you could call that God's movement. And they say a lot of the teachings, when you move from that, then there is no karma, but that's a whole other teaching. What it means is there's no karma because, I feel, is because in the seeking in time, You're always trying to get something for you. So if you don't get it, you're disappointed, angry, resentful. Whereas when you're not in that dynamic, it's just appearing and disappearing. So if there is annoyance, it appears and disappears. It's not lasting. It's not this lasting dynamic that's happening. The great telltale signs is when you don't get it. When you see there's attachment there is when you don't get it. So it's a grace when you don't get things. Our mind is like, terrible, that's awful. Yeah, thank you, Hans. Okay. So I have to check that the technicals is all working. It's still running. So Darshan, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
I've watched your session yesterday with Angelo, and I had a question. One of the people that was asking you a question, I can't recall exactly what he asked, but your answer was something about merging, and there was something to it, but I can't really remember what you answered. Do you still remember what I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah, I already thought so.
It was a nice conference. This conference. I'd never heard of it before. It was nice.
But then a different question, because you and Angelo were talking like about different stuff, and I just wanted to ask you, out of your experience, what is the difference between your teachings and his teachings?
Such a serious look you give me, Darshan. What is the difference? Okay. I think that Angelo, I don't actually often speak about other teachers, so I'm just going to say this, and then that's as much as I will say. But I think Angelo gives like a really good conceptual framework of everything, of the person, the personality, of non-duality. Like, so he gives really good framework, whereas I feel like I focus more just on speaking about non-duality and just more like the energy of that. And that's not a criticism of either of us. You know, if I say that he speaks more full, it sounds like there's something I'm lacking. Or if I speak more about non-duality and the energy of it, it sounds like something he's lacking. It's just this different colours. And in everybody's dream, the perfect teacher will manifest for them at the perfect time. If your heart is intent on waking up, then you will listen to exactly what you need to listen to, exactly the right moment, which is always no time in a way. So there's really no lacking or no like difference in the sense of there's a me or a him there. There's these different expressions that life create. And it's all one energy and one movement. And that's just one element. I mean, there's so many different dynamics in different teachers and different, not dynamics, but different expressions in different teachers. Yeah, thanks, Darshan.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the next question. Replays of the conference sessions are available. Yeah. Yeah, you can go, it's called like I Am Conference or I Am Infinite. I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's I Am Infinite Conference or something. Oh, there we go. Someone posted a link. Thank you. Donna. Gloria. Angelo feels like divine masculine approach and Lisa feels more divine feminine. Yeah, that's really beautiful to put it that way. You know, and all these different elements are really important at different, you know, times. And this is something that Roger taught me, was to always stay humble, you know, to like all the different expressions of this. Like Roger Costello, who's my teacher, he's so good at putting it all into a really good framework. So it's like with Angelo, like he reaches so many people because he conceptualizes it in such an amazing way and makes it so accessible for people, and really helps people look at their dynamics, their way of thinking. And then he also directly points to non-duality, but it's it's so accessible. And he's also very like inspirational in the sense of, like, you know, he's there's now it's your turn, like this energy of like encouragement. Like I can't put it. There's so many different depths to the way he speaks, and I know that that's something that I don't really go into too much. I don't go into so much specific detail because I can't. This energy just won't do that. And so it's really amazing that there's different teachers at different times. So when people need that, that is there. And then when people need more what I present, which I feel like is my strong quality, is mirroring back freedom to people so they get a glimpse and a taste of it. Like, but, you know, if you're really like needing like more work, more understanding, then maybe I'm not the best person for that. And if you trust your natural energy, you know, when you need Angelo, I feel like what will arise is the desire to listen to him. Like this natural desire will arise to listen, to be attracted. And then a natural desire will come when you need more reflecting back the freedom of what you are. I can also reflect back negative stuff as well because I'm a mirror, so I can also show you hell. Yeah. I see Peter like yeah. So, you know, it's like it's all, and then so many different teachers out there, and you just trust your natural inner guru. You know, the guru is everywhere. I'm not talking about teacher hopping, you know, when it's like when this one says something you don't like, you jump over to this one and then to that one and then to that one. Like I wouldn't teacher hop in that way, you know, out of a reactivity, but a natural flow, you know, when you need more of this, understand this more masculine approach, this more action approach, then you'll naturally feel more attracted to Angelo. When you need the more stillness, the reflective energy, maybe you could call that the feminine energy, then you will come to this conversation. Yeah, and Angelo is so clear in the way he speaks. Roger was like this too, in the way that he conceptualized it. It's really a beautiful art that is coming out. It might look easy, but that's really like an art. Like it's really like spontaneously coming out. Okay, let me just check, see if there's any questions. Yeah, Camilla. Hey, Camilla. Lovely to hear from you. Beautiful energy in your intro, Lisa. It made me so silent. Always grateful for how the pointing flows through you. I often say pleasure, but you know, in the end, it's you, Camilla. Like I'm just the mirror. And if you're you know, if you're seeing hate, then you will see hate in me. Like I amplify, I think this is what this energy does. So if you're seeing stillness, then I most probably amplify that, you know, I'm reflecting it back to you. I think this is what this energy predominantly does. Also, another thing that maybe happens in these satsangs is that there is a resonance as well, but that is kind of like a mirroring. Like, so I start off this stillness, and then it's remembered in yourself, and then it kind of resonates backwards and forwards, and then it sort of grows within the group. It's another thing that happens, which again is kind of like mirroring. Okay, so we go to Schumann. Hey, Schumann.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Schumann, and I can see you now.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much for the talk.
Yeah.
And as always, I do get the sense of infinite freedom, or that is the truth of the situation is freedom.
Yeah.
But the reason I put my hand up, though, it may sound strange, but it's only because it helped me. I was in London and in Watkins' bookshop, and I got this book.
Oh, nice.
The Power of Presence with Ramana Maharshi. But there was something I read, and it was in part 3 of the book, which I didn't get, but it was so, for me, it was so liberating, because it described the story of, I think, when Ramana was traveling with some of his followers, and they were attacked by some robbers, and I think some of the robbers also started to beat him, and then one of the people in the group, was going to rush back and defend Ramana, but Ramana said there's no need. He said that all they're doing is they're just performing their role. They're just performing their role in the play, and all we need to do is just to perform our role. And I just mentioned that because for me it just reflected freedom, because whatever I do, that's not really what I am. And it helped me, sorry, it helped me. I know it's not a nice subject to bring up, but in the news there's horrible things like genocide in Gaza, and also what comes up as the hypocrisy of the West. But that was, to read that in that book was just so liberating for me, because it is just a role.
Yeah.
And I can see, I hope I'm not jumping off the subject, but I can see that even when my mind sometimes reflects on my actions, but none of that is me. I mean, whatever is, thinking just kind of grasp what is the truth anyway. But it just brings home to the fact that my true nature is, I want to say, sorry for saying it, because I'd only like to use some words which I'm in tune with, but it's just coming up in me. I just want to say that I'm just, that boundless, that boundless freedom.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful story. Thanks for sharing that. A really beautiful story. This was the main teaching when I lived with Roger, which he gave. I mean, he gave lots of teachings, but the main thing that we spoke about was doership, and it was really profound living with him, because, you know, yeah, some people might disagree with this, and I never like to paint Roger in a bad light, because he gave me everything, and I'm so grateful, and he had to act out these roles with me, and I'm so grateful for these roles. But like, you know, when I first went to live with him, I had a lot of blame, you know, to people. You know, so our egos deal in different ways. You get the ones that beat themselves up, and then you get the ones that blame the outside world. And my personality, I felt guilty, but it did blame a lot, the outside world. And sometimes that's quite a strong position, because then you're like, it's not my fault, it's their fault, you know. So it's like, it's a defense. And, you know, and so when I would have these blames towards Roger or towards the environment, he would, you know, reflect back that there is no doer. And I don't mean that he was like, you know, doing really awful things and then saying there is no doer in some arrogant way. But in coming up against this again and again and again, it really like cracked open this character, you know, because like, yeah, because it became so apparent, you know, 3 years of living with someone, that there is no doer in anybody. It doesn't mean I don't say, please could you do this, or please could you do that, but it's just in the end, whether he does it or doesn't do it is God's will. Whether I blame or don't blame is God's will. And it was so deeply relaxing here to realize that. It was also horrifying in hell, because my safety was to blame him. So then when I had that safety taken away, if I didn't blame him, then who was responsible for my problems or for my mind? And then it was me, not me as Lisa, but not me as the infinite, but the character felt like it was her responsibility, which it wasn't either. But it couldn't take that responsibility. It couldn't take, like, you know, if it blamed, then it was his fault, and then I felt safe. But if I couldn't blame him, then it was my fault, and that felt unbearable, you know. So it was like really a beautiful teaching to see that again and again, and to have him reflect that back again and again. And many scenarios we had, you know, like when we were in India and we got ripped off, when things would go wrong, you know, like waiting like 8 hours at the train station or something, or yeah, when he crashed his car, you know, and like flattened it and wrote it off. His response was, I needed a new car, you know. It was like so in flow, you know. And to him, and I know exactly how he would thought, like to him what would come up is like, well, that was God getting me a new car, you know, because then the insurance paid for a new car, and he got a really nice new car out of it. So, and it's this trust in life, like it's like you're not the doer, and so then you're really trusting life. You're stopping making life an enemy. It becomes you, it becomes your movement, and yeah, it becomes an expression of love.
I have noticed that, I mean, I'm just using my own words, like it felt, and I don't mean to romanticize things, because I know circumstances can be difficult, but it always felt like there was, in my life, there was a guiding hand, that it was
Yeah.
perfect.
Mm.
And when I think back to it, it helps me in the present when dealing with challenging situations. I could see,
Yeah.
you know, it's like something was almost protecting or guiding me.
Yeah. And the whole of your life, like when you stop looking at it as like, what can I get from life? Like, what's this life going to give to me? Like when you stop looking at it like that, like the whole of life becomes a gift, because you begin to see that life is continuously offering you the path to freedom. And the way that it does that is through obstacles, is through challenges, is through the appearances, and through gifts as well. It's saying, it's constantly offering back this mirror to freedom. But when it's about you, then you have like an idea of what you want your life to be, and then there's the disappointment, the anger, the jealousy. When you really see that it's all an appearance to expose the truth, to go home again, then it's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. I just wanted to say, sorry, I'm jumping around, but I just wanted to say that in the mornings I do a practice. It's like a meditation, but I'm standing like a tree. But very often I can hear the birds, and they're just so divine. But sometimes the funny thing is, there's no doer in the bird that's singing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is your singing, it is.
yeah,
Not yours as human, but that as who you truly are.
yeah. It just is, and it just reminded me of the title of a book by Lisa Lennon. There is no one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, as
Yeah.
always. And as I say, your
Thanks,
talks
Shimon.
they do bring one home to that sense of infinite freedom. Yeah.
Thanks, Shimon.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, this is Bettina. Can you just put your hand up, Bettina? So I can see you. It's alright, you don't need to. Just so I can pin you while I answer. Can you say something how to be and work with strong seeking energies? Yeah, when there's strong seeking energy, I think it's body work. You need a good conceptualization of the seeking energy. And so to get a good conceptualization, you could do one-on-one sessions with people. I feel like you've got good conceptualization of what's happening there, but just for other people. So sometimes our dynamics are very hidden, and you need somebody to reflect back those hidden dynamics, because the mind or these dynamics hide. So first of all, it's like good conceptualization, and that often comes from working with someone. It's rare that someone can do that part by themselves. Once you have a good conceptualization, or simultaneously, then it's body work. And body work is personal thing of what one touches you, and what one that you can regularly do. So you've got to try and find a body work which isn't a battle for you to do every day or every other day. So one that flows for you, and one that actually moves something in you. So yeah, that can be different for everyone. For me, when I was with Roger, we did a lot of massage and like Ayurvedic treatment, like physical massage, Ayurvedic treatment, and I did chakra work, so working with my chakras, but that's not the way for everybody. And I also did qigong and acupressure as well. That was what suited me. I still do body work now. What suits me is more stretching or yoga, kind of, but very gentle stretching. I like breath work, and I like singing mantras. But I don't do them so much for releasing, seeking, or personal dynamics. I do them more just for body balance, to keep my system in good balance and healthy. So you have to select what you feel like you can do. For me, when I was with Roger, like doing the chakra work and the massage, that was very easy for me. And I mean like intensive massage. I'd go to India and I would have these 2-hour massage sessions with an Ayurvedic doctor every day. I did it in India because I couldn't afford it in the West. And it's like intensive, it was like really deep work. I would be crying and screaming sometimes on the massage board. He was totally into waking up, so he knew what to do. And Yeah, and the chakra foot work, like, so doing this massage. So I studied acupressure and shiatsu, and it's like different points in the body I used to massage, and then it would all come back to each chakra. So that worked for me, and I could regularly do that. Yeah, and these will help dissipate. So you need to understand the seeking patterns, good conceptualization, and then working on body work. And the reason you need body work is because the mind and the body are one movement. So you can change the thoughts to change the body. You can change the body to change the thoughts. They're the same thing. So yeah, that's why. And I feel like it's better to you work with the mind to an extent, but often people can then get stuck in the mind, stuck in the story. So it's like then you have to move to the body and do it. Some people can do it with the mind, but most people, they need both. See, they just become, and they'd use the mind, they just become here. And the thoughts are in your knee, in your calf, in your big toe. You go use all of it. And then eventually they become free, and they're everybody, they're everywhere, the thoughts. They're everything's thoughts. So when you were on the retreat in Berlin, like Lena's body work, this is a great thing to do. Just, you know, and you really put the attention. So when you're like stretching the hips, for example, in her class, you're really putting the awareness on the hips, and you'll just notice that naturally stories and energies will come up, and they'll come in your chakras. You'll suddenly get lots of pressure in your throat, in your heart. It's really interesting what happens, and you just naturally let them out of your body, and they'll eventually come up and they'll come out, or they'll burn out. Yeah. And understanding, you know, when they're burning in the heart, what's happening there. In the heart, it's often, I'm not loved. I'm abandoned by God. I'm all alone. Yeah, thanks, Bettina. Okay, Larry, you can unmute yourself. You're not unmuted, Larry. Hang on, I can ask you to unmute. I forgot how. I can do it on the small Larry. Oh, I lost him. Hello? Are you coming back, Larry, or shall I move on to Zerk? Okay, Zerk, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, Lisa.
Hi. Could you just tell me how I say your name, please?
My name is Zoe. I accidentally
Ah,
signed in with a silly name,
okay.
so I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah,
But I
Zoe.
did write my question in the chat, um, and I could read it, I suppose. Let me find it. And this is a question I've had for a while, and
Yeah.
it's just so it says, I just wanted to express that I have a big fear that humanity is in the process of extinction. I've heard Shanti say before that life knows best, and maybe it is best that we get recycled or something to that effect. It's not word for word or anything, but I feel a heavy guilt, like I've done something terribly wrong, and now I have failed our lesson. And I say dismissed in an angry teacher voice, and that just reminds me of my childhood a little bit.
Yeah. So the question that you can ask yourself is, what does that give you? This thought, like, what does that give the person? The thought that humanity is on the way to extinction. Because maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know about these things. But a reoccurring thought is about you. It's not actually about society. It doesn't mean that you don't help or you don't do things, but if it keeps reoccurring, then it's giving you something. And so you work out what that gives you. Sometimes when we already feel anxiety, we then go out there and we find anxious thoughts to hook onto. Sometimes the mind goes out and finds anxious thoughts for something to do, to maintain something, to be something. And I'm not saying it's any of those, I'm just giving some ideas. This isn't like a coldness, it's not ignoring the fact that there is the seemingly in the news, there is a lot of unrest at the moment. And it does seem to, the internet does seem to be polarizing people. I'm not saying that that's not seemingly happening, but we can think about it now, but then if the mind carries on thinking about it, then it becomes about you. Yeah. So you can just investigate what it gives you, and then investigate who you are. And then the ultimate practice is to keep staying with the I that goes, I believe society is going to become extinct. So you don't go into the rest of the sentence. You don't push the sentence away, but you just stay, your focus stays on the initial I rather than the rest of the sentence. I am. And actually this I, as you begin to go into it, it stops being encased in anything. It stops even being an I. But what it is love. It's peace. And then the world has to do what the world has to do. Life has to do what life has to do.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you, Zoe. Ah, Larry. So you wanted to ask a question but not speak, I see. I got confused.
You're muted.
Thank you, whoever said that. So Larry just wanted to write a question. I understand the confusion. Larry, right, I agree with something you said. Something that came to me a long time ago. The messenger is more important than the message. How sad we need to resonate with just the right person and almost never find them. I don't know if I said that. Yeah. Maybe I did. I doesn't know. Okay, I just checked Telegram and yeah. Okay, maybe that's the end for today. Yeah, just to say that maybe in the future I move the streams to 5:30 French time, so 1 hour later. I'm just trying it at the moment, but it's just a bit easier for the Americans. And yeah, I've changed my schedule, so I'm more open to going further into the evening now. Okay, Larry. Sorry, you didn't say that. You said resonate. I said the messenger was more important, not you. Yeah, I don't know what you mean, Larry. Yeah, nice. Okay, so to those on YouTube, so if you're in the Zoom meeting, then you're welcome to leave, but you can also stay. And then I just acknowledge everyone that's been in the meeting. I just go around and say everybody's name and look at them and maybe ask a question sometimes. But if you're in YouTube, watching from YouTube, then I'm going to leave you now. Let me just go back to the YouTube page. There. Yeah, so I really appreciate this sharing happening. So I really appreciate everybody that's here. Yeah. And I really, really wish you everything. Not one or two or three things, but every God bless thing. Yeah. Thanks. Bye.